And you have not seen anyone play more games for the Dodgers than the gentleman I'm about to introduce. He's played more games for the Dodgers, Los Angeles Dodgers than anyone else. And actually in the 129-year history of the Dodgers, only one player has played more games than him. He's a three-time All-Star and a member of the 1981 World Series champion Dodgers. We all remember that. I'd like to introduce to you Bill Russell. So what we're going to do today, I'm going to ask him a few questions just to get started, and then we'll take questions from the audience, so you can be thinking of them. And as a longtime Dodger fan, I can't help right now but be reminded of a great Dodger that we just lost last week. His name was Don Newcomb. And so I just thought we'd start the questions with Bill with your impressions of Don Newcomb.
Well, Don Newcomb, is this on? Yeah. There's only a few people, two ex-players, and a few players that played at Brooklyn, and like a few of them left. It's very loud in here. So there's only a few left. The Brooklyn Dodgers left, and from memory, Koufax is still alive, and so is Carl Erskine. I think they're only, so he was a rare legend, and obviously Newcomb was, back in the Brooklyn Dodgers only won. All the years they were in Brooklyn, they only won it one time. The Yankees
55
every year. Yeah. So Don Newcomb was a big part of that. Coming up in that era with Jackie Robinson and Roy Campanella. Don Newcomb was a Cy Young pitcher. He was an MVP, and I got the chance to meet him here in Los Angeles obviously. And he would come out to the ballpark and went every day, so we got to know each other pretty well. So all his teaching about, if you read the article in the paper the other day, it said that he always dressed up, he always wore a hat, he always wore slacks and sport coat. So every time I see him at the stadium, I'd say, "Don't you own a pair of jeans?" And finally, later in the year, he finally came to the ballpark and wearing a pair of jeans, and came right over to me and said, "See, I own a pair of jeans." Don was a big part of the Dodge organization. I was just blessed to be a part of that and share some of his knowledge with me. So it was just a great time in that era with Don coming out. Much to do.
So you grew up in Pittsburgh, Kansas. Was it your dream always to play Major League Baseball?
No. We didn't even have a high school baseball team. So it was back in the 60s, obviously. I just played, during the season, we just go out in the neighborhood and just play sandlot baseball, football or basketball, whatever it was. And I think my first glove was when I was 5 years old. And then Little League back then only started when you were 9 years old. And nowadays they start like 4 or 5 years old. So I just played during the season or whatever it was. And so I got an opportunity to sign after my senior year in high school with the Dodgers. Prior to that, I played American League ball, so I had a couple of good tournaments in my junior and senior year at high school. So the Dodgers drafted me, and they came to my house and offered me $14,000 back in '66.
Big money, big money.
I said, "Where can I sign?" Couldn't sign it fast enough. So one thing led to another, and 3 years later, I was in the big league. So it worked out.
That's fantastic. It worked out for all Dodger fans too. You mentioned playing all the sports, which we're all interested in youth activities, and that's what Optimist get involved in. So we're involved in a lot of youth sports. And one of the trends that we've had in recent years in youth sports is that they play year-round baseball in the club teams and all that kind of thing. And the basketball is they're all year-round now. I'm curious what you would recommend for parents and us as mentors of youth to recommend for children in their youth activities or sports activities.
Well, I would get my child or my grandchild involved in many activities as I could. Simply because now that everybody comes home from school and they play these video games. Yeah. I mean, that's just the way it is nowadays. And so you get them involved with youth sports, or you get them in an environment, a competitive environment, plus associated with kids that of their own age, and they can grow up and be part of a good group, as we know. Back when I was playing, we would leave the house, and in the morning, and my parents would say, "Come back when it gets dark." Obviously, you can't do that. You really have to monitor them and stay with them in sports and getting involved in things like that. It's a one way of keeping them from getting gangs and all that, going out there and doing stuff that they shouldn't be doing. So if you keep them involved in sports or youth activities, offer that.
So now, you were 20 years old. Maybe it wasn't the first time you walked into Dodger Stadium, but it was the first time you made an opening day roster. Tell us your impressions walking on the field the first day in 1969.
Well, in 1968, I was playing in Bakersfield, hot Bakersfield.
We have some Bakersfield people.
I think the ballpark is still there, Sam Land Ballpark. So we had an off day, so we took our school bus was our bus then. Took it from Bakersfield to Dodger Stadium because the Dodgers were out of town. So I remember walking out in a field as big as Dodger Stadium. I walked out to the mound and I just, turned and looked around like you'd see in a movie. Just walking, looking around, and it held 55,000 people. That's my hometown where I grew up, counting the cows, only had 10,000. So I was in awe. I mean, I was shocked. This not only being in Los Angeles, but coming from a small town of 10,000. And coming to the big city of Los Angeles. I knew about it, sit on TV, the movie stars and stuff like that, but now, I remember in grade school, which I'm sure a lot of you did too, the World Series was a big deal. And in junior high, they used to let us out to go watch the World Series in the auditorium there. So they had a big black and white TV up on the stage, they used to let us out. So now, I wasn't really a baseball fan, I just liked to play growing up. St. Louis Cardinals were close. And Kansas City Athletics were close, but I think I put more baseball cards worth a fortune on my bicycle. We all did that too, buy a nickel box of baseball cards and put them on Mickey Mantle flap around on your tires. But it was just I was just in awe. Not only come to the stadium, but who would know that the next year in '69 I made the team. And I shouldn't have been here, but I was. I think my minimum salary was, in those years, $10,000. What, even $1,000 a month? Nowadays, it's $550,000.
Now it's ridiculous.
Times changed, obviously, but I thought I'd win a lottery too, making $1,000 a month. You gotta be kidding. But here I was in 1969, and then a few years later, 1974, that's when Garvey Salopes, myself, and when Jimmy Wynn came on the scene, we went to the World Series and played Oakland. So we're all very young in our early 20s. Now we're playing in the World Series at Dodger Stadium. So it was just you just sit there and I really don't think about it at the time, but when people ask me that, you just say, well, I just had to be probably in shock the whole time, but we went out there and competed, feeling that way.
You jumped ahead to the '74 World Series, so we'll stick there for a second. That was the first time the Dodgers had been in a World Series for a long time. And in fact, you mentioned the infield. Bill Russell was the first one of the infield to get there, and then the rest came along later. And they're the longest tenured infield where all four of them stayed together for 11 years.
Wow.
Eight and a half years. And so you grew together, and now you're in your first World Series. Was it a little shell shock? Were you ready? How did you feel walking into that with your teammates?
Well, we were playing Oakland Athletic, and they've already won 2 World Series in a row prior to that. So, and we were very young at the time, and we had a lot of talent, no question. Great pitching staff, Mike Marker, the reliever. So, they had Vida Blue out there on the mound. They had Catfish Hunter, Reggie Jackson. They just had star-studded lineup out there. So, but we considered, I think we lost like 4 games to 1, but each game we lost by 1 run. So we felt that it wasn't disappointing at all because we were very young to be there. We were playing against a mighty Athletics, and we were just 2 runs away from winning it ourselves each game. So we just felt that, it just went on from there. We stayed together a long time, 77, 78. we were back in the World Series again. But once you know it, the Yankees. The Yankees are there. Beat the Dodgers again, and again, we should have been, we were ahead 2-0 in the '77, and they came back and won 4 in a row. So I hit Reggie Jackson in the butt. Didn't like it.
He stuck it out.
Stuck it out. Replay nowadays would have overturned that one, but it was just a good era, you know. '70s, everybody, I think, in here, the baseball fans love the '70s. You know, the big red machine, rivalry with the Giants.
I'm glad you mentioned the rivalry with the Giants because that's where I wanted to go next. And I was, well, a lot of us were fans in the '70s, and the Dodger-Giant rivalry was really something. So how does that, you coming to the team and growing up with the Dodgers, how does that rivalry get into your blood, and what was it like in the '60s and '70s?
Well, it obviously came from Brooklyn, but it was in the minor leagues. You know, our manager, my first manager, and when I was 17 years old, was Tommy Lasorda. In Utah. What an education that was. I heard words that I'd never heard before. He would incite a riot. The fans would get him so aggravated. We had to get a protest for him. We ended up winning. Tommy was great. You know, he taught us how to win and taught us how to play championship baseball. But the rivalry just started in the minor leagues, and it just came up through the system. And I'm sure it did them too. We were fighting in the minor league with them. You know, it's just the way it was. Nowadays it's different because free agency kind of took care of that. But we would go to Candlestick Park. First of all, you're freezing to death there in July. And you didn't see any blue in the stands. If you wore a Dodger jacket or anything blue in the stands, you were tired. You're going to be fighting. So the fans were all over us, throwing beer on us, you know, whatever they could to aggravate us. And they did. But it was just a rivalry. It was great, though. It was great competition because it was so cold out there. You had to get something to take your mind off the cold. And let the fans kind of distract you a little bit. But it was just a great rivalry, great for baseball. And it's trying to get back to it a little bit, but you know, it's just not going to be there because in those days, you know, for what free agency, so you stay with the team a little longer than they do nowadays. So that's just the difference. And it was just a great era to play the game of baseball, as you all know. Wow. Watching it all play back in the '70s, big red machine.
Yeah.
They had.
Go ahead and talk about that rivalry. That was from '73 when the Reds won and was a very close race, and then all through the '70s, the rivalry with the Dodgers and Giants. It was those two teams going to the wire.
Well, you look at the Reds back then; just about the whole team was Hall of Famers. You know, Pete Rose, he should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
We all know that, but they stay away from the horse trap. Maybe we get in. Anyway, he should be there. There's no question. But you know, you had Tony Perez at first base, Joe Morgan Concepcion, and Pete Clayton third base, and you had George Foster in center field, and Geronimo out there. Ken Griffey Sr. was out there, so they had just a power-packed lineup. Mark Anderson, the Hall of Fame manager. They beat us in '75 and '76. We beat them in '77 and '78, and they fired Sparky.
Yeah. And he was in Detroit.
And he was. I mean, that's just the way it was back then. You know, we're just another great rivalry, the Big Red Machine. And, you know, once you mention that Big Red Machine, all those names just come because they're such great ball players.
And there's no question, there were two premier shortstops in the National League through the '70s, Dave Concepcion and Bill Russell. We all know the better one was in Los Angeles.
There's a Hall of Famer out there named Ozzie Smith.
Yeah, he came out. I'm going to put him a little bit later because it was more the '80s. I'm going to give him the '80s.
He played on that hot AstroTurf too.
Yeah. You mentioned Tommy. How about your first manager in the major leagues was Walter Alston, who we all as fans thought was a real quiet guy, but I have a feeling he was a pretty stern disciplinarian and ran a tight ship.
Well, the two different type of managers. Lasorda knew when that camera light was on, he'd come alive. Walter Alston, he would just sit over there with his legs crossed and just kind of give signs and, you know, let the team play. That's just was his style. But any manager, and I'm a former manager, any manager would tell you have to have the players or you're not a good manager. Joe Torre's a Hall of Fame manager. He got fired about 3 times. It's just, you have to have the players who are out there. And Walter had him, had him through Brooklyn. And he had a younger, older team when he came out here, really. After the 60s, when Koufax and Drysdale were stars in the 60s there. And after that, from about 68 to 70, 71, it was just an older team. And so all of a sudden the 68 draft came about, which was Garvey and Say and Lopes and Buckner, Pachorik. It was just a great draft. And here they all come up now. And we're all together like in 1972. That's when they took off. And Walter was there. He had a lot of patience with us young guys. There's no question about that. And he had to. But Walt was just a quiet guy. He was like my father. He wouldn't say much, but when he did, you better listen, or you're going to get backhand. You can't do that today, but backhand is a little different.
You only played for those 2 managers in the major leagues. That's remarkable for the Dodgers. You don't see that kind of stability. Like you say, they fired Sparky after how many world championships? He just doesn't make it one time. We had the Yankees in 77, 78. We still had them in 81. And that was a pretty fun little World Series with Goose Gossage hitting people and the 3 MVPs. Tell us your thoughts on that World Series.
Well, the 81 season itself, it was a strike year. We only played like 2 halves. And we won the first half of the season, and Montreal won the second half. And Houston was right there, so we had to have some playoffs. We had to have a mini series with Houston, and they had Nolan Ryan and Mike Scott. And we were down like 2 games to nothing. We ended up winning 3 in a row, beat them. And we played Montreal. Went to Montreal. It was freezing rain there. And playing there, we were down 2-0 with them. And in a 5-game series back then. And so we came back and beat them. But the big hit in that Montreal game was Rick Mundy's home run. You remember that?
That's right. Yeah.
At the time, and I still think, many of you won't agree with me what I want to say, but we thought that home run was bigger than Kirk Gibson.
Yeah. Well, it was in 1981, that's for sure.
The difference is, Mundy's home run got us to the World Series. We were already in the World Series when Gibson hit it. Even though, you could say, well, that propelled us on to beat Oakland. But anyway, I was part of both of those big home runs. And so now we get a chance to play the Yankees again in 1981. Finally, and we knew the infielder was going to break out. Steve Sachs was coming up on the scene, so we didn't know which one would go, but it's probably going to be David Lowe. But we were down 2-0 with the Yankees, and we were saying, oh, this is going to be our last time together. We're thinking that, we didn't say it. It's probably our last hurrah together to try to win a championship. And so we ended up winning 4 in a row. We beat the Yankees 4 in a row. And finally got a World Series ring, which is right here. It's not like the one today where you got to have a lift for weight to figure you are now. But anyway, we got a World Championship together in 1991. It was a different kind of year. It's kind of like a Hollywood story put together how we went about winning it, but we did it. And hopefully, the last 2 years, remember the Dodgers lost the World Series the last 2 years? Well, we lost in 77, 78 too, so let's hope that they can come back and do what they did in 81.
Yeah.
30 years of charm.
Yeah.
Rick Mundy's hit, those are big hits because they get you into the World Series, and you reminded me of one. I had to watch that one on TV because that was in Montreal, but I was in the stadium in 1978 when the big hit that got us into the World Series in 1978 was off the bat of Bill Russell, who I actually consider one of the great clutch hitters of all time. So I'm wondering what you think, you can talk about any of this, but were you are clutch situations more easier to concentrate or something? And your thoughts on just that hit in getting you to the World Series?
Well, at that point in those series, we've all played a lot of games together. And, 55,000 screaming people there, and I'm on deck. And what led up to that hit was, the bottom of the ninth, 2 out, runner on first base. Dusty Baker hits a line drive to the Golden Glove center field.
Oh, that's right.
He drops it. So Say's on second base, now Dusty's on first base, and here I come. With Tug McGraw out there on a mound. And Tug has a habit of hitting his hand, his glove on his leg when he's nervous. So I don't know what to expect when he does that, you know. And so he's left-handed, I should do my right hand. So. But the first pitch was a hanging slider. How can I remember that? I don't know. Sometimes you remember stuff. Next pitch was another hanging slider, and I hit it just right because I had a penguin on second base. So I blooped it over the shortstop's head, just enough where Ron didn't have to slide it home plate, and we ended up going to the World Series. So it was just
that was a great play.
It was just a great moment. I had an opportunity, and we came through. But you know, it's a team effort. Everybody on that club. You know, we've had 4 guys hit 30 home runs on that club. We've been to the World Series, All-Star games. We just had a great group of guys, and it was a team effort. And I was fortunate to get to hit at that time.
So sometimes you mention how things get frozen. I bet there's another hit you can remember. Tell us about your first hit in the major leagues.
First hit was in Cincinnati at the old Crosley Field. I don't know how many people remember the old Crosley Field. Had a hill in the outfield and a chain link fence going around. Just a small old ballpark.
Yeah.
So Walter also wanted me to pinch hit, left-hander out on the mound, Jim Merritt. And so first pitch he throws me a high fastball. And I get a double to left center field. I didn't know how I got to second base. I don't even remember touching first base. I was only 20 years old. I didn't really know what town I was in. But what you don't know, my next 3 hits were a single, a triple, and a home run. Wow. So my first 4 hits in the big league was for the cycle.
Wow.
We didn't know that. I'll open it up for questions from the audience. Anybody have a question for Bill?
Yeah, hey, Bill.
Okay, we'll start here.
Do you have reunions? Do you still get together with the guys?
We have car shows. We do shows together. The Ford shows. We had one a few weeks ago in City of Industry, where we go to a memorabilia store and get together. I see Yeager a lot at the stadium. We had the 81 reunion with most of the guys a few years ago, so it's good to see those guys, see what they're up to, and reminisce about some of the old times. Pedro Guerrero, see a lot of him. Steve Sachs, he lives in Sacramento, but he comes down a lot. So, probably not as much as you want, but just enough to see how you're doing, what you're up to, stuff like that.
You know, that made me think, before I get to it, of another teammate, Bill Buckner, who Dodger fans love too, and I thought would get to 3,000 hits eventually. He might have if he didn't get hurt a few times. Have you had conversations with him since the 1986 World Series and all that's gone on there?
I've seen him at, each, this May, I think they're having like an old-timers game at the stadium, and guys like him come in. I saw him a couple years ago at the stadium. He lives in Boise, Idaho, and, he was a great player. You're right, he broke his ankle like Tommy Davis, he broke his ankle, but Bill, you remember Bill Buckner, everybody said the ball went through his legs when he went with Boston, and the Mets had come around and win. That's what you remember him by, but he was a great player with the Dodgers and the Cubs. Remember, he led the league. So, just a great person, good hitter, just a very competitive type player that you'd want on your team.
I remember him making a lot of diving catches. Maybe because he wasn't getting to balls as fast, but I remember a lot of diving catches from Bill Buckner. Ed, you had a question?
Yeah, when you were active, they did not have interleague play. They do now. What's your opinion about interleague?
I think it gives like Los Angeles gives a chance to see the American League teams, the teams that you don't normally would see come out here, even though you could go to Anaheim and see them. But I think it's great for some rivalries too. The Dodgers and the Angels play. You go like the Yankees and the Mets and stuff like that. I think it was good for the game. Do something different. It's like they're trying to mention every year that why does the National League do a DH designated hitter too? So I don't know if it's ever going to come to that. But the game changes. Just trying to get some more interest, something different.
Thank you.
Oh, and I'm sure you might know, I was wondering, I take a survey having been brought up in Brooklyn and Ebbetsfield, how many people know why the Dodgers are called the Dodgers?
Oh.
Right here, you got to
They were named after the trolley Dodger, or the trolley.
No, that's not, that's part of it. It's my dad's generation. They used to have trolley cars in Brooklyn with a big thing. And they used to have a contest who could dodge the trolley car in front.
How about that? Carol, you had a question, and then I'll come to you next. I'll get you next, Carol.
Yeah, we were fortunate to have Don Newcomb at our club meeting, and he just passed away a couple of years or so ago. So I was just wondering, do they have retired baseball players from the Dodgers that still come out to club?
Like he used to, yeah.
Yes, they do. Like you call the PR department Dodgers, and that's what I do too. I do stuff like that.
Oh,
So
and you're here.
they have their.
Okay, here.
My friend Ed will not let his boys play any sports because of concussions. What do you think about that? He says he doesn't want his children to ever get a concussion in their life, so they will
Well, then
not
don't play
play any
football.
sports.
That's ridiculous.
Not worth
You
answering.
can trip and fall.
You know, you want to leave it up to your child what they want to do, really. And if they, whatever they decide, you want to back them. So, you know, it's a tough decision right now. You know, I'm sure they're very young, right?
10, and 7, and 6. But they use it. Because we've heard so much about football players, all these players having concussions, they will hurt them and they'll die early. And they're afraid.
Some of the other options don't
You
play
run it down the
hockey.
field, they're falling.
Alma, you had a question? Oh, how much time I have? Excuse me here.
Mr. Russell, what is your opinion of the
Sir.
National League DH?
Well, it changes the manager style of changing the complex of the game, the management of the game. You don't have to worry about that pitcher coming up to the plate. Just a different game, there's no question about that.
You think they're going to do it?
I hope not, but you know, they've been talking about it every year. They're trying to, put a pitch clock up now, where the pitcher has to throw it so many seconds. They're trying different things. But it's just it keeps what the DH does do. It keeps some of the older players in the game a lot longer. So that's what the DH does too. So.
Okay, we have time for one more question, and then we're going to wrap it up right here.
Do you think aluminum bats are slowing the bat speed of the kids when they play against a wood bat? Would you support aluminum or wood bats?
Well, I think it's all they would try. Of course, if the metal bat is not cheap, what I understand, like $300 or $400. If they don't break. The wood bats, very expensive. Just another thing that you're growing up with. It's a different game too with the metal bat. It's big leagues, they don't use the metal bat at all, obviously, for the obvious reasons. But I think growing up as a kid, it's okay. I wouldn't mind that. It's just cost of it. Yeah.
Well, that's all the time we have for today, but we really appreciate you coming and speaking with us.
You want to make sure and get you something that you really believe, right? That you really like hot sauce. So, you got 5 kinds. This is one of the hottest ones. And we also got you a couple of tamales that they're going and getting you right now from
La Única. La Única. La Única.
La
Única.
La
Única.
But it's a tamale place that North gets tamales for you guys from San
Yeah, we got tamales coming, Bill.
And he's not even an Angelino. He's a
Thank you very much.